Hello, this is SJ Talks from Life coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. I was watching this YouTuber by the name of Jerron. He's an ex-Jehovah's Witness. I am, just in case you're new to my channel, I am an ex-Jehovah's Witness. This is not an ex-Jehovah's Witness channel. I'll find a video where I'm talking about leaving the organization and link it up to this one. But if you're new to my channel, I am an ex-Jehovah's Witness. There's a whole sector on YouTube with ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, a whole ex-Jehovah's Witness sector here on YouTube. There's quite a few ex-Jehovah's Witnesses here on YouTube, and a lot of them, they come on here now I do ex-Jehovah's Witness videos from time to time here and there, but I am not an ex-Jehovah's Witness channel, nor do I want to be, because I got other things to talk about besides Jehovah's Witnesses. But from time to time I will come in and do, because I am an ex-Jehovah's Witness, I do come in and do videos here and there. However, there was a YouTuber I was listening to by the name of Jerron Benton. I think that's his name. He's an ex-Jehovah's Witness. And now he is an ex-Jehovah's Witness channel. That is an ex-Jehovah's Witness channel because all of his content is centered around being extra. And that's fine. I'm not knocking anybody for every ex-Jehovah's Witness has a different experience in the organization. I had every ex-Jehovah's Witness that was in the organization has a different experience. No ex-Jehovah's Witness experience is alike. We've all had different experiences in the organization. I spent many years in the organization. I think altogether 16 years, something like that. I don't know. I have to count them up again, but I spent many years in the organization, and I did with my about 3 years ago. I did my research, and I started comparing scriptures because they have their own Bible, the New World Translation. And I started comparing scriptures, and I realized that they had a lot of discrepancies, that they were removing scriptures and altering scriptures, and that just was a deal breaker for me. That was a deal breaker for me, and then all the allegations and everything that they're up against. It's some other things that's going on in the organization that I'm not cool with either. But after doing my research, and I realized that the things that they were putting in their Bible was not. They were making too many changes, and they have lots of unscriptural rules. So that's why I decided to the main reason why I decided to leave the organization. Because that's like a deal breaker for me. I mean, the Bible, it says do not, all the Bibles have been altered. I'm going to go on the record in saying that. All the Bible translations have been altered, including the King James Version, okay? But however, it is a problem when a religion does it. It is an issue when a religion alters the Bible. When a religion creates their own Bible, and they alter it to tailor it to for what they want their members to believe, is what I'm trying to say. They tailor that Bible so their members can believe what they want them to believe. That's indoctrination. It's indoctrination. So I realized that, and it wasn't a rash decision. This was a decision that I made overnight. I prayed about it. At least I think I prayed about it for a whole year, along with doing my research. So it wasn't an overnight decision, and that's the reason why I decided to leave the organization. Now, I wasn't born into the organization. I wasn't born into the religion. I didn't have any family members that was in the religion. Because a lot of people have family members in the organization, and some people are what they call PMO, physically in and mentally out, where they may have family members in the organization, and if they leave, they have a fear that they will be shunned by their family members. Well, I fortunately didn't have any family members in the organization. I couldn't sell any of them on getting. A matter of fact, they wasn't cool with me being in the organization, but thank God, I couldn't sell them on getting into the organization. Uh, but so I came into the organization in my mid-30s. So my fade, as you want to call it, my fade from the organization was pretty good. It was pretty easy compared to other people in the organization. It's not that. It's way more complicated when you've been raised in the organization, you have parents in the organization, you have siblings in the organization, and some people are in their PMO, which means physically in and mentally out, because they're afraid that if they leave, they're going to be shunned by their relatives. It's really sad. It's really sad that the shunning policy that they have is unloving. It's not scriptural. It didn't set well in my spirit when I was in the organization. And it's not loving. Jesus would not do that, and there's a lot of people that have committed suicide, and it's caused a lot of division in families because of their shunning policy that they have. And God is love. One thing I know about God, Jehovah God, he's love. And he would never, and God is not the author of confusion. It say he's not the author of confusion. And he would never co-sign division of families. He would never, I don't think the loving God, when I read about God's qualities and when I meditate on his qualities, a loving God would not be cool with families being divided. He would want families to come together and love one another. A loving God, I don't think it's consistent of his qualities. What that organization, what that policy, that shunning policy is, does not go in accordance with Jesus Christ or Jehovah God's qualities. It just, because God is love. And he would never, I don't think he would condone, it's not consistent with their qualities. I don't think him and Jesus would condone family members being divided, family members being against, if a family member gets this fellowship, you not allowed, you can't talk to them. If they die, you probably can't go to their funeral. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. And so I am going to do a video talking about the unscriptural rules and all the ones that I broke. Stay tuned. That video's coming. Because it's just a lot of things that I just wasn't in agreement in. And that should have been, I know you're thinking that should have been a red flag, but it wasn't. It was and it wasn't. But it's complicated. But however, I was looking at Jerron Denton's video, and he was talking about how his mother was bad-mouthing him to another Jehovah's Witness. His mother is still in the organization. And I know I've been noticing a lot of, I'm not on here, I'm not talking about him or bashing him or anything, but I mentioned in his comment section, he seemed to be very upset about it. And I know that a lot of videos that he does, he seems to be really, really upset about, because I guess he got this fellowship and they brought him back in, and I don't know, something about he got this fellowship again. He had straightened his life out and did what he was supposed to do, and they just fellowshipped him, or they wouldn't let him come back, or something like that. Jerron Benton, that's his channel, if you want to go over there and check him out. But I mentioned it in his comment section. Do you think maybe you should go into therapy? I'm not trying to be funny, but maybe you should go into therapy, because some Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm not saying I don't need therapy, but not because I'm an ex-Jehovah's Witness. But some ex-Jehovah's Witnesses need therapy because, like I said, a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses have family members in it, and when they walked away or they got this fellowship, the family members shunned them, and that caused a lot of emotional and psychological damage, especially if your parents turn their back on you. I could not imagine my mother being a Jehovah's Witness and I walk away from the religion and she shuns me and don't want nothing to do with me. I just couldn't imagine that, you know. And this, a lot of cases, it's parents that are shunning their children because of this shunning policy that they have in the organization. And some people have committed suicide behind it. It's really, really deep, and it's really serious because some people have committed suicide behind it. So the organization, in my opinion, is blood guilty. They blood guilty. Some scriptures are being read or taken out of context. But a lot of times these religions, they make up their own rules. They make up their own rules, and those rules are not consistent with God's qualities, not consistent with his laws or anything. They just make up their own rules. And so that's why I mentioned in his comment section, and a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses do need therapy, or ex-Jehovah's Witnesses need therapy because of that situation because he was very upset that his mother had bad-mouthed him to another witness because he walked. I think it was, like I said, go check his story out. I think he got this fellowship, and they let him come back, or he got this fellowship, and then he tried to come back, and he straightened his life out. You know, he went and made the necessary changes, and he said he was repentant and everything, but the elders still didn't let him come back. It was a situation like that. So it just seems like he's very, very emotionally traumatized from that. And so, like I said, I told him in his conversation, you don't think that you should, get therapy. I'm not trying to be funny, but there is a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that do need therapy. Because specifically for that reason, because it seems like to me, I'm not a psychologist, but it seems like to me there's a lot of trauma. Some Jehovah's Witnesses walk away with a lot of trauma. And I did another video talking about that. I'm not feeling the trauma. I still got to do a lot more extensive Bible research. And stay tuned. I'm going to do a video talking about life after Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm going to do a video talking about that. So stay tuned. There's some things I'm kind of twisted about still that I got to do extensive Bible research and study on. But as far as any trauma, I'm not having that kind of trauma, but lots of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses walk away from the organization with traumatized, because of family members shunning them, their parents shunning them. And like I said, that causes a lot of emotional, that is traumatizing, particularly to have your own mother. And he said that he tried to wake his mother up. He tried to educate her. And I told him that show your mother some grace. Show your mother some grace, because you have to understand that she's still indoctrinated. People are in this organization, they get indoctrinated. And if you wake up and you come out, but they're still in the organization and they're still shunning you or whatever, I told him, show your mother some grace, because you got to understand she's still indoctrinated. And when people are still indoctrinated into this organization, it is hard, unless they really, really got some serious critical thinking skills. Like I said, in my other video, I'm a very deep thinker. And I think I was thinking critically the whole time I was in the organization. because they would say certain things. And like when, for example, they would say when you leave the organization, you're leaving Jehovah. That was one of the main things that they would say all the time. And every time they would say that, I would think, no, isn't Jehovah in your heart? How are you leaving Jehovah when leaving the organization? Because the Bible said Jesus is the only mediator. Jesus is the only mediator between us. I don't know what scripture it is, but when I find it, I'll put it in the... But the Bible clearly says that Jesus is the only mediator between us and God. Jesus is the only mediator. Not a person, not your pastor, not a religious organization. So when they don't understand, when they make that statement, they're putting themselves as the mediator. They're putting the organization as the mediator. That's problematic. So every time they would say that, I would like, isn't Jehovah in your heart? But that's what they would say. When you leave the organization, you're leaving Jehovah. No, Jehovah's in my heart. I left the organization, but Jehovah's still in my heart. So when they make that statement, they're putting their organization, the Jehovah's Witness organization, as the mediator between us and God. So you're saying that I have to go through this organization in order to be saved. I got to go through this organization in order to get to Jehovah God. That's not right. The scripture says Jesus is the only mediator between us and God. Now, I'm no Bible expert, I'm no Bible scholar, but I know that. Okay, so that was one of the things that I meditated on too, while I was doing my research. So it's stuff that when they say stuff like that, and when they talked about against people going to college and all this kind of stuff, and I'll be like, of course I wasn't cool with that because I was going to college. And I'd be like, interesting, I haven't read that in the Bible. That's not in the Bible. So I literally was critically thinking the whole time I was in the organization. I was thinking critically. And that shunning policy that they have did not set well in my spirit. Now, that particular policy right there, that particular rule did not set well in my spirit. It really did not set well in my spirit the whole time I was in the organization. And then while I was studying, because I studied for 5 years, mind you, while I was studying and I asked a question about it, I got yelled at. Well, the person snapped at me, okay, when I asked a question about it. Where they say you can't talk to them. And the question that I asked was, well, shouldn't we be encouraging them to come back? Shouldn't be? And then that person snapped at me. I got snapped at for asking that question. So that should have been a red flag too. So, lots of people do come out because of that policy that they have. And I understand that I made a video talking about that too. They've made lots of changes. Women can wear pants now. Men can wear beards, which they couldn't before. So I hope that they make changes to that policy, because it's not a loving policy. It is not consistent with Jesus and Jehovah God's qualities. It's not consistent with his scripture, his word. And God is not the author of confusion. So there is lots of ex-Jehovah Witnesses because of that policy that they have in place. It's lots of them that do need therapy. And it's really sad, So that's what I wanted to say. I was looking at that, and lots of ex-Jehovah Witnesses that do need therapy. There's a lot of trauma. Like I said, I'm not feeling particularly traumatized, but there's lots of ex-Jehovah Witnesses that are. So that's what I told them. I said, you don't think that you need therapy because, and when I look at the different content, ex-Jehovah Witness videos and stuff like that, and some of them are very, very traumatized. Some ex-Jehovah Witnesses are very, very traumatized, depending, like I said, if you were raised in it and he was raised in it, and so stuff like that. So I highly recommend anybody that was raised in the organization coming out of it. I highly recommend getting therapy. Yeah, getting therapy, prayer. Some ex-Jehovah Witnesses turn to atheism. I got a video. I'm gonna talk about that. Not understanding as to why some ex-Jehovah Witnesses is turning into atheists. So I'm going to be talking about that too. So that's what I just wanted to sound off about. Yeah, it's quite an ordeal for a lot of ex-Jehovah Witnesses. But my heart and prayers go out to him, and I hope that he can get some type of therapy, that he doesn't seem to be at peace, and that he can have some type of peace with, you know. But it's very difficult when you still have a parent that's in the organization and they're shunning you, and then they're talking about you to other people and stuff like that. So I can definitely understand why he would be upset about that. Okay, so hit me up in the comment section if you have any opinions or thoughts about that. And hit that like, subscribe, and share notification. Until the next video, you guys be blessed.